Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Gordo Gambles and welcome back to a brand new segment actually. In theory, we are talking about best bets, this time for UFC Singapore. And before you guys say, what, new segment? We've kind of done this before. Last year in all of 2022, we did one bet per card. We were fortunate enough to go 35, 6, and 1 for an ROI of 47%, up 96 units. And we're hoping to do that again this time. Lucky enough, we're gonna be doing it a little bit different, all right? This time what we're gonna do is every week go out here, short, quick breakdowns, 3 things to cover. We're gonna give you our favorite underdog, prop bet, and parlay. Hope to make some money on that side, all thanks to our friends over at CoolBet. Partner up with them, they're gonna make sure we give us some really good lines to go out there and bet them. They're gonna be the lines we'll be referencing during this video. And if you guys wanna check them out yourself, please hit the link button down below. Support me in doing so and check out what services they have to offer. But without wasting any more time, let's dive into this card we have ahead. And like I said, 3 bets. Let's start with the chalkiest options first. That is gonna be our chalk bomb parlay. It's not gonna be pretty this week, but what you wanna do is you wanna build that bankroll 3 legs this week. First one's first, main event, Max Holloway. Not much to say here. He is somebody you want to back, not getting too much EV we want to, but he's a solid core piece towards this parlay here because I do think he wins at a very, very high clip. The younger fighter who has literal records for going out there and landing volume, landing strikes, and a guy who absorbs damage very well versus an older fighter in the Korean Zombie who doesn't absorb damage that too well, is on a bit of a losing streak and was just out-volumed by the likes of Alex Volkanovski. What was a pretty horrendous display there. It didn't look too good for the aging veteran. We have the guy with the right stylistic matchup for here, and I do think he lived up to his price tag. That is our leg number 1. Leg number 2 is the hyped up prospect behind the card, the guy that the Singapore crowd is going to go over there like to support, and that is Rinne Nakamura. Again, not too pretty of a line, but when we're putting all these together, all we're trying to do is build that bankroll, and I do think Nakamura is someone that they're propping up for success this week and should win at a very, very high clip. A very credentialed wrestler, a guy who likes to go out there, has a perfect record so far, and does so with a very, very strong ground game that he's rounding out with his sort of striking, and he's kind of the Bo Nickel of the Asian fight scene here. He's a guy who with credentialed wrestling, a guy they're building up, mixing into MMA, and a guy who they're giving a little bit of a layup to do so here. Fernie Garcia was taken down, controlled by some lesser opponents here, and I think that they're giving this Asian fighter in an Asian market a setup fight to do well on the main card. I do think Rinne Nakamura lives up to that price tag, and it completes that second leg of our juiced up parlay. Last but not least is another fight we're going to be talking about later in the video, but I do like the fight doesn't go over the under 2.5 in the Goff versus Kinoshita fight. Now, very fun stylistic matchup. On one side of things, we hyped up Asian prospect here in Kinoshita, a guy with very explosive power, but who kind of hit a wall last time, but was taken down, controlled, pressured, and that's kind of what Billy Goff wants to do here. Billy Goff wants to go forward, take you down, try to go out there and break your will, and he has great cardio to go out there and do so. He wants to put on a very high pressured approach to break his opponents. The problem is, he has no defensive ability, and his chin is a huge question mark. A huge red flag for Goff here is he can be hit, he can be dropped, and we saw that in the first 20 seconds of a Dana White Contender Series bout. Kinoshita is a sniper, great counters, great power in his hands, and I think that he has the ability to put out Goff's lights early on. The question is, if he can't do so, he will probably be drowned by Goff the same way Fuji was able to drown him down the stretch. That just leaves us for a nice reliable path to cast the under here. I think it's either Kinoshita early, Goff late. All 3 of those legs together, we get minus 135. That is a very good way to build our bankroll going into this weekend. I'll be playing that myself on CoolBet. 3 chalky legs, it's not pretty, but we're gonna make it up here with some underdog plays coming up. Starting off with our underdog of the week. And there's a few I could talk about here. Anthony Smith's a guy I'm looking to go out there and target. I think there's some viability in other matchups, but let's shine some lights on one that's going a bit overlooked this weekend. We have Garrett Armfield taking on Toshami Kazama. May have butchered that name, but I do not want to butcher this breakdown. This is going to be a very, very fun matchup, and like I said, one that's going a bit overlooked. You're not going to want to miss this one. And as I kind of alluded to, we are taking the underdog here. We are taking a guy in Toshami Kazama, another guy who's going to be backed by the hometown crowd there, and the guy looking to promote, and a guy who's kind of getting a bit of a bad rep for his last bout. We just talked about how good Nakamura was. That's who Kazama fought, and he paid the price of facing a good prospect. Now he takes on Garrett Armfield, and I'm not saying Garrett Armfield isn't dangerous. I'm not saying Armfield isn't a talented guy, very explosive early on, great boxing, and a good ability to mix it up in a well-rounded skill set, but he fades down the stretch. He can be taken down, he can be submitted, and those are things you don't really want to see against a guy in Kazama. Now, Kazama's not going to be fighting without any jet lag or any ability that way, but he is a torrid pace wrestler. Great ability to get it down to the mat. That's what he wants to do. He wants to drown you down there. Great jiu-jitsu skills on the mat as well. And you have seen that he has the cardio down there to have success. Now, it is going to be dicey because on the feet, I do think Armfield has the advantage. Kazama can be hit, he can be lit up, but we know that he's going to do whatever he can to take it down to the mat. And I think once he's down there, he is going to have the advantage in the strength, he's going to have the advantage in the cardio, and he's also going to have the jiu-jitsu advantage to get him out of there. All this to say is I do not think Kazama should be this big of an underdog. Plus 135 on CoolBet. This line may even improve. This is not one where I think you should be giving less than a 40% indication for Kazama. I do think he wins this fight north of 50% of the time, and we are getting some good value on that end here. I like him to use his pace, use his ground grappling early and often and really wear on the gas tank of Armfield. Getting him out of there, making the crowd go wild, what should be a very electric matchup for as long as it lasts. Give me the Underdog in Kazama. And last but not least, a prop I'm looking to target. We kind of already talked about this fight, and we kind of already mentioned how we see it going down. We are taking Kinoshita to finish this fight in round 1 for plus 300 odds. And let me reiterate this one. Billy Goff's a guy who is very aggressive, likes to break his opponents down the stretch, but lacks the striking defense and lacks the durability you want to see from a guy who is so aggressive. He was hit early on in his first Dana Contender Series bout, dropped in 20 seconds, and that fight could have been finished. Now he's facing a guy in Kinoshita who is extremely powerful, has a bunch of KO finishes on his record, and a guy who should exploit that poor durability and striking defense of Goff early on. That seems to be his major win condition, and I'm liking these plus 300 odds. Kinoshita has 6 wins, all 6 of them coming inside the distance. He is a finisher, he's a powerful fella, and flip side of things, although Goff only has 1 of his 2 wins ending inside the distance, he gets dropped early and often in a lot of these bouts, and that's against lesser competition. So give me Kinoshita's win condition, early finish, plus 300, don't mind those odds. That's gonna do it for me here. I appreciate everybody tuning in, listening to my bets this week, and checking out Cool Bet for me down below. To sum it up, we're taking a juicy parlay, including the under in the Kinoshita Goff fight, Nakamura moneyline, Holloway moneyline for minus 135. We're also taking the Underdog and Tashiyama Kazama, and we're taking a nice plus 300 prop in Kinoshita round 1. That's just a few of the bets I'm placing this week. Make sure to check me out on Twitter at GamblesGordo to see my full slate of bets, probably around Friday afternoon. And check me out on YouTube at Plays and Fade Sports, where I'll be hopeful to do these videos weekly. Let's try to build back up that record. Let's try to go out there and have some fun, and let's make some money, guys.